Hello, and thank you for joining me again. Friends, we are now in the first month of the new fiscal year, July 2019. And many of you have been asking many questions and many comments out there, concerns pertaining to our pay, our wage progression, especially the premium pays. A lot of questions. So allow me to take a couple of minutes to help better explain and hopefully give a better understanding about these numbers and how they work. And joining me today to explain these numbers, I mean, who better than to help us understand and explain these numbers than the one person that I actually trust and who many of you have trusted with your personal paychecks and pay stubs. I refer to him as our numbers guy, Mr. Michael Dennis. Please, Michael Dennis, come on down. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How you doing?
All right, have a seat, please. Michael Dennis. Michael, getting straight to the point here, where are we at right now in terms of our top scale of our base wage? Where are we at? What's our top rate of pay?
As of July 1st, with the new contract in effect, our top rate is now $37.13.
$37.13 for the top pay.
Top pay.
Okay.
Right.
What are the steps for the new hirees right now?
Well, the new hires are hired at 70% of that, which is $25.99 per hour.
70% for the first
year.
The first 12 months.
So
Okay.
anybody being hired recently or in the near future, and going as far back as a year, is on the 70% rate now,
Okay.
which is $25.99.
Okay. And
Which used to be was 63%.
Used
So
to-
anybody in their first year on July 1st got a raise immediately, went up to 70%.
good job. Fantastic. Excellent. What about the second rate of pay?
The second rate of pay is 75%.
75. That's after
Yeah.
12 months.
Yeah, that's after 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah, goes to 75. It was 72.25%. And right now, so anybody that's on their second year is $27.85 an hour.
Okay. And what about after 24 months?
After 24 months, that goes to 80%, which right now is $29.70 an hour.
And this step here is where we've been getting a lot of questions, comments, and concerns. There's operators that are saying, hey, you know what? I'm already at that level of pay. Am I going to be reduced? Am I going to have a reduction in pay? So how do you answer that?
The answer is no. Your pay will not go down. First of all, it's a really good question because anybody who's at that rate is currently at 81.5%. And right now that step got switched to 80%. But you will not get a decrease. That's very clear in the contract, and I'll just read it exactly what it says to ease any concerns about that. Current operators who are being paid under the 2014 through 2019 progress scale will be integrated into the new progression scale so that their current rate of pay will not be reduced as a result of such integration. So that's very clear that nobody's pay is going down at all. All these other steps are much higher. That step is a little bit, lower on the third step. But if you're there on that third step, your pay will stay the same until your next anniversary, that's when you go to 100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
so after 36 months, that's when you get 100%.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Perfect. So there it is, broken down. Next, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the premium pays. So a lot of people have been asking about the premium pays. One of the most important ones is not one of the most important ones, just one of them. Where do you want to start off at? Which one?
Well, they're all important, equally important. The largest premium we get right now, I think, is the line trainer pay. That's the first one listed in the tentative agreement.
Okay.
And that's been greatly increased. It was $5 an hour for line training, and that got changed to a percentage of your hourly rate of pay, and that's 20%. Which 20% of our top rate is $7.43 an hour. So that's a really big increase on the line training pay from $5 to $7.43.
Okay, good.
And yeah, also really significant there is that it won't stay at $7.43 the way it stayed at $5 for years and years and years.
Right.
Because it's a percentage. With each and every raise we get, that's also going to go up. So that's a really good deal.
Absolutely, and also, pertaining to line trainers, for the cable car operators out there, I encourage you to be a line trainer if you'd like. We are now doing line training once again at the cable car barn, so there's just another incentive right there. Moving on, what's the next premium that you got there?
Well, night duty is 8%, and that's always been 8%. So that's going to be $2.97 an hour at the current top rate.
$2.97 per hour for night differential premium if you work from.
That's between for any hours worked between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see. Moving on, the next one. Which one do you have there?
Well, expert operator
operator
premium pay. This is an amazing increase on the expert operator premium. It's been 50 cents an hour for my entire time here, which is going on 5 years, and my understanding many years before that.
20 years.
20 years, 50 cents an hour. That also got changed to a percentage, 3% of the rate of pay, which is $1.11 an hour, not 50 cents an hour anymore. It's $1.11. So that's a really big increase on the expert operator pay. And at the end of this contract, and this is another one that will increase with each and every raise we get. It's not going to stay $1.11 for 20 years like it stayed, 50 cents. It's going to go up with each and every raise. And at the end of our contract, it'll be $1.21 an hour. And that's just an amazing increase over 50 cents an hour where it would have been, had this not been negotiated into a 3%. That's actually 142% increase. I've never heard of an increase that big. That's an amazing increase. $1.21 an hour is 142% more of 50 cents an hour, and it'll keep going up after that without even being negotiated. That's the benefit of having these premiums turned into percentages is they'll go up without having to be addressed again.
How much of an increase is that?
That's a 142% increase.
I'm not a numbers guy like you are, and if any of you are numbers people out there, that's a big number.
Yeah.
142%. Wow. That's great.
Yeah, and also along with the expert operator increase, the terms have changed a little bit in that you can now switch barns without having to start your 5 years over again.
Correct, right. So any of you, worried about losing the expert operator premium pay because you're going from one barn to another, don't worry about that because it's now been eliminated. So you can go any barn that you want and you will not lose it as long as you meet the other criteria, which is, I think no suspensions in the past 12 months, no accidents, I think driven at least 1,600 hours. So you have to meet the requirements still in order to do that. However, if you decide to go from one barn to another, you will not lose it. So that's good job, you guys. So thank you for those numbers. What else do you have? What other premium do you have on there?
Well, the rail pay also.
Rail premium, right? That was another big question that we kept on getting pertaining to rail premium pay and how that works and how it doesn't work. Explain to us, how was it before and how is it now?
Well, before it was $15.74 per shift, just a flat rate. Whether you worked, a shorter shift or longer shift, whatever, you got $15.74. Most people probably saw $157.40 on their check, for 10 if you did 10 shifts in the pay period for rail pay, and it was just set at that. Now it's been turned into a percentage as well, which is 5.5% of the top rate. So that will also go up with each and every raise. But right now, 5.5% of the top rate is $2.04 an hour. And how that compares to the $15.74, just to give an example, in an 8-hour shift, that's $16.33 for an 8-hour shift. So even if you work the bare minimum 8-hour shift on rails, which hardly ever happens, that's an increase. You're going to get $16.33 for 8 hours versus $15.74 rail pay, and it's even higher for longer shifts since it's an hourly pay.
Okay, good, man. Yeah, that was another big question that a lot of operators had, specifically the rail operators. What other premiums do you have there?
Well, let's see. We've
got
a couple. We've got a headweight premium, which. Let's see. The headweight premium is now a percentage of the hourly rate. Where it used to be $2 an hour, now it's 6% of your hourly rate, which is $2.23 an hour.
Okay.
So that went up also by
Okay.
over 10. That's over 10% increase right there. Just doing that in my head. From $2 to $2.23, and that's another one that will go up with each raise. By the end of our contract, that'll be at $2.41, and won't have to be negotiated. To keep going up with the raises.
This is one of the less common premiums that gets paid out there. However, just keep track of what it is that you do on a daily basis, because it's your money, you guys. I think we have one more premium, and then that's it for premium pays, right? Or is that it?
Well, there's a couple other things. The SDR, runs subject to.
SDR runs subject to daily reassignment.
Yeah, that was $1. Now it's 3%, which is $1.11.
Okay.
11% increase right there.
For those of you that have SDR runs, so keep that in mind, okay, you guys?
Yeah.
Anything else, or I think is that it? I think that might have been it pertaining to the premium pays.
Overtime on New Year's Eve after midnight. That's a new thing.
That's a new thing. Let's see. Transit passes. What do you tell us about transit passes now?
Transit passes are now available to, let's see, it says to operators, spouses, domestic partners, and legally dependent children under age 26. That went up from, that was under age 19. It's also very explicit in the contract that they're available to part-timers equally to full-timers. Which we believe our old contract said that as well, but it wasn't being observed. So that got straightened out. Thank you, Roger, for that. In negotiations, that got explicitly written in our contract that the transit passes will be available to the part-timers as well in an equal way that they are to full-timers.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty much it. Those were the most ubiquitous questions that people had. It's always pertaining to their pay, and it's absolutely important, you guys, especially now that all of these pays have been changed, and now that we have percentages, it's very important for you to scrutinize your paycheck and what it is that you do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I know people, operators, who are still not receiving what they should be receiving. Some people are missing a lunch or 2 or 3 or 4 here and there. Some people are not being paid their expert operator premium pay. Some people are not being paid their overtime for some reason. I mean, goodness gracious, Michael Dennis has had some encounter. This is the man that you do not want to have an encounter with in terms of being told that you are not going to be paid your overtime. And there are still some dispatchers out there that have tried to tell Michael Dennis that he would not be getting paid for some of his overtime. And Michael, just briefly, give us a little bit of information.
It's just a matter of really knowing how we're supposed to be paid and being able to look at our check and see that we are paid correctly. And that, I realize, is a really big problem. When we look at our check stub, it's very, very confusing. And it's not you, believe me, it's the stub. The stub is not set up in a way that's discernible, really. So that's something that I hope to see get better in the future. That's something I've trying to work on myself to the best of my abilities. They know me by name down at payroll, and in my own experience of standing up for what I think I should have been paid and I wasn't, I've always been able to clear it up. It is fixable, but it's a matter of knowing what you did, knowing what you're entitled to, and being able to see whether you got that on your check or not. And that's very hard right now. We understand that, but we see, Roger and I and many others see a future where that's not going to be so hard. It's going to be more obvious.
Absolutely.
And it is just a matter of standing up for yourself. The problem is that for so many years, no one really understood or stood up for themselves, and it was kind of commonplace. I think it is. I see it at my own bar for a dispatcher to say, "Oh, overtime. I don't know if you're gonna get paid for this. It's 4 days old, or I wasn't trained. I don't know. This is a tricky thing in the computer. You might not get paid." Well, I understand if someone wasn't trained properly, or if they've been trained improperly, they might have a question. But it does not, by any means, mean you're not going to get paid overtime that you worked. So
plain and simple, point blank, if any dispatcher tries to deny you your overtime, please call me, call us, let us know. You will get paid for the hours that you work, plain and simply. No dispatcher or anybody is going to tell you that you turned in your overtime slip late, or that you had to turn it in the night before, or any other reason or excuse. Because I've heard them all.
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
Dennis has heard them all.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no way that you are not going to be paid. You
That's
will
right.
be paid, plain and simply. Is that right?
Here, I agree with that. And they tell us all kinds of, they make up rules sometimes. I've heard of operators literally driving across town on the last day of the paper to get that slip in because they think they're not going to get paid. That's absolute nonsense, and that'll have to get addressed at some time too.
So, before signing off, hypothetically, if your barn is Presidio and you're pulling out from a different barn, and a dispatcher says, I need for you to do X, Y, or Z. I need you to go to this barn, and it's after your shift.
After your shift, and you're saying on the last day of the pay period?
No, it's just any day, any day.
Well, we've got the ICT pay, the inconvenience pay. You get an hour for the pay for being at the pulling in or out of the wrong barn, and you're also supposed to get paid for your time doing it.
Okay.
And that time is never going to be in your paddle, so you have to do an overtime slip, and you need to turn it in.
So anytime you are asked to do something, you need to be getting paid for it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
Good to know. Any other words of wisdom, Michael Dennis, other than scrutinize your paycheck? Any other words of wisdom?
No, I think we covered it.
Perfect, fantastic. In that case, as always, thank you very much for joining us and breaking down these numbers for us.
My
Please
pleasure.
Watch
Thanks for having me.
watch your step on the way out. And friends, before signing off, I'd like to say that the fight is not over. This is simply the beginning, and although things have somewhat settled down, there are still many more issues that have to be addressed. A lot of new and different events are going to be occurring here and there in the very near future, specifically in the latter part of 2019. We have many events that we have to look forward towards. Retirement parties, special barbecues, parties in general, just to celebrate us, ourselves, our co-workers, our families, etc., and so forth. So be looking out for these events in the very near future, just to say thank you and congratulations to everybody. Until next time, you guys, be safe out there.